Right. And what is that?
Ah, well, I'm very glad you asked, actually. This is something pretty special. This is the Randomiser, which Marina and I use to watch random Jerry Anderson episodes. Would you mind if we record this week's episode here in your lovely control tower today?
Fantastic! That's just about the most fantastic scheme I've heard to date.
So, was that a yes?
May I remind you how to speak to your superiors?
Oh, no, sir. No need for that. No, you are Commander Norman, controller of London Airport, a man whose reputation, if I may say so, definitely precedes him. What's that, Marina? Oh, no, I said not to mention the air safety record. No, it's fine. Shh. Anyway, sir, we were hoping that this week we could ask you to press the button and select an episode for us.
I do my best.
Oh, that's all we can ask, really. Your best, well, that should hopefully be enough. That's it, yes, you just press the red button right there, and after a few moments we get a printout with an episode selection on it.
You've got to hand it to Hackenbacker.
Who? Oh, yes, of course, yes.
Jolly good show, old boy.
Rescue station. Mayday from Fireflash 3.
Ah, well, it sounds like you're going to be a bit busy now, so we'll let you get on.
Right, thank you.
Operation immediately.
And don't look so worried, Marina. I think this is pretty much any given day at London Airport. So, what have we got today? Oh, well, there's a series we've not yet seen on the Randomiser, isn't it? And it's an episode I seem to remember being quite good. Let's see if it still holds up. It's Supercar, the Talisman of Sargon. Now, I'm going to be honest right up front and say that Supercar is not an Anderson series that I put on very often. I think if I said that I haven't seen an episode in 5 years, that's probably somewhat optimistic. It's not my least favourite Super Marionation series. I think that honour would probably go to Fireball XL5, as much as I did love that as a kid. But I think this is, along with things like Twizzle and Torchy, maybe not so much Fall for the Falls, I look at this more as a piece of history rather than as a piece of entertainment in its own right, which may be a bit of sacrilege to people who grew up with this. I was born in the 1980s. I did not grow up with this, but I do remember Talisman of Sargon being one of the better episodes of the original series.
And what do you think of that?
Which is probably in no small part due to the fact that we have the wonderful Masterspy and Zarin on the scene causing problems. I think this is the first episode of theirs that was filmed. It may not have been the first that was shown, but they are such lovely, grotesque characters, these parodies of Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre.
And in any case, all my reference books are here.
Something I really admire about this series, particularly in the first season, is how it doesn't talk down to its audience. Obviously, this is a show aimed at children, but two of the 5 main hero characters are elderly professors, and there's a lot of scientific jargon and historical fact being thrown around, but it's not being done in a way that sort of puts kids off. It also is an obvious nod to the parents watching this, that there is enough going on at a child level that the kids can understand it and enjoy it, and there is also something for the adults, in particularly in the antics of Dr. Beaker. He is a lovely character. Superbly brought to life by David Graham, I think, but also Hugh and Martin Woodhouse, who wrote most of the episodes in the first season, did a lot, I think, to establish this show's identity. And it's kind of interesting that on the second series, where they, for some reason, nobody seems to know why, they weren't invited back, I think the second season is very much more a kids' show, whereas this is definitely a family show that works on both levels. Something else I love about Beaker as well is his complete obliviousness. Is that a word? It is a word now. How oblivious he is to obvious traps and threats. He is so constantly always thinking. His brain is always engaged in matters of science and intellect, but he completely misses the blindingly obvious, and probably leads the Supercar team into more traps than either Jimmy or Mitch do. But we still love him anyway, don't we?
But on reflection, I think he may have been Masterspy.
There's just a chance you could be right. I think it might have been Masterspy. Which again begs the question, why does nobody recognise Masterspy? He is not the greatest master of disguise ever.
Charging for attention.
5,000. 7,000.
And something interesting with the Supercar launch sequence in regards to later launch sequences is that in most episodes it always seemed to be specially shot. They would never rely on stock footage as much. Okay, that's stock footage with the engines launching, but the bits of the characters are usually episode specific. I suppose that's because they have dialogue, unlike, say, the launching of Thunderbird 2 or the launching of the Shadow Interceptors or the Angel Interceptors or whatever. And it must have been a lot of trouble to go to every single week to re-record the exact same material in a brand new way. I do love that shot of the hangar doors opening, the roof doors I should say. Now when I say that I tend to look at this show more as a piece of history rather than something that I can put on and enjoy, I'm looking at this now and wondering why that is, because the production values are perfectly fine, the same as they were on Fireball and even Four Feather Falls. There's nothing absolutely spectacular, but they are perfectly decent. I think maybe it's more I'm drawn to the more special effects heavy series from, say, Stingray onwards, but the characters are all lovely, well, except for Jimmy and Mitch here. But yeah, I think also I'm not really a huge fan of the overly caricatured puppets. Mike's a very nice character. Masterspy and Zarin are. Jimmy is just ugly. Popkiss tends to look like he's on something, but in a good way. He's got a nice smiley face. Beaker, I really like the character. I really like David Graham's performance, but something about the face, the huge bulging eyes, is a bit unsettling, which is a shame because, as I said, otherwise he's a really nice character.
Gee, this place scares me.
You're not sorry you came, are you, Jimmy?
No, sir. It's just...
No, we're going to die, sir, but I'm really glad I came. Oh, what is wrong with his nose? He looks like someone's been punching him in the face.
You don't suppose Masterspy would harm him?
Not a chance. That guy's too busy making
No, we couldn't get that lucky.
But Masterspy, you're sure...
It was so amazing how Masterspy and Zarin can, at any moment, always get hold of a truck. And it's always the same model truck, despite it being destroyed seemingly every other week.
What are we gonna do?
They always have a truck.
Jimmy, these walls are solid rock.
In fact, how do Masterspy and Zarin, how do they finance all these operations? Because we've never actually seen them get away with anything, ever, I don't think. And yet they can hire trucks and aircraft and gangs at one point. Where is all this money coming from? And now we should talk about the elephant in the room, or perhaps the little monkey in the monkey suit. Mitch. I don't think he was needed in the show. I don't think he really adds anything. But I do like him as a character, even though he is in no way a monkey. Just something about the face. He has a lot more character than the pets in, say, Fireball or Stingray. Zuni is a bit just... ugh. And Oink is, I think, barely a character. He was dropped very quickly from Stingray. Mitch was kept around for the entire series. And it's nice when he's used in episodes like this where he helps solve the problem. But very often he just kind of turns up at the end of an episode to do a silly thing, or particularly in the second series, he will get the Supercar team into trouble, or get himself into trouble, and that's the whole story. I tend to assume that this is not actually a monkey. This is just some strange person who dressed up in a costume and got adopted by Jimmy.
Now, if you don't mind...
I also like, again, this is another great David Graham performance. I love the sort of manic, barely restrained rage that Mitch exhibits sometimes. I find that quite funny.
There must have been a sandstorm while we were down in that tomb.
Oh, how fortunate that it happened while we were down in the tomb. We didn't have to show it. Not that I doubt they would have tried to pull off a sandstorm if they'd needed to. And here is old Professor Popkiss has fallen asleep at the desk. It's a shame that Popkiss was never really used as much as some of the other characters. He is usually just left behind at base to man the console. He's a nice character as well. Like I said, very cheerful, very jolly. He only occasionally went out with them on their adventures, which is a shame. He's very nice.
Are you in trouble, Mike?
I'm a bit worried about the intakes, Professor. If they're choked with sand, we'll overheat. But let's try her.
Well, take it easy.
Roger.
This is something else that is unique to Supercar launch sequences. There's a lot of, for lack of a better term, fretting. There's sort of, oh, Mike, you must remember to do the thing before you do the other thing. Or, okay, Professor, I'll do the thing, but if I do the first thing, then it might upset the second thing. Ah, but Mike, if you do the first thing, then the third thing will automatically cancel out the second thing. Okay, Professor, let's give it a try. It just kind of goes on like that for a bit. It's, I think they must be covering the fact that they can't, or at least they feel they're not able to really show much in the way of action or a launch sequence. I think very quickly they probably realised their capabilities probably exceeded their own expectations and they really could do some impressive stuff.
You know, Professor, that thing must be thousands of years old. I wonder if it really did give old Sargon power.
If people thought it did, then it probably did.
I do like that as well. It's like, can we comment on the truth of this legend? Oh, well, if it meant something to somebody, then who cares? Well, that was Talisman of Sargon, and it has made me think, yeah, I've probably been remiss in not looking at this show for as long as I have. It does show the strengths of the AP film setup at this point. Probably from the first half of Supercar, this is easily one of the best episodes. It doesn't have too much of the kid-friendly nonsense that would creep in later. I've really enjoyed actually coming back to this and meeting all these characters again. And I'm looking forward to landing on some more Supercar episodes in the future. Take care.